What's up, guys? Welcome back to Road to the 2 Comic Club. Justin here, and another 2-day recap coming for you for July 26th and 27th, and let's just get into it. So, the stocks were pretty mixed in the beginning of the day on the 25th. Obviously, probably you guys don't care about this at this point, but the Dow did finish up. NASDAQ had a good day as well, so you can see there on the screen, Amazon had a good day, up $34 a share. And then the second day, July 26th, we had the Dow started doing really well, but the NASDAQ not so great. And you can see Amazon had a down day. Now, this was the last screenshot, but then I took one from my TD Ameritrade account. I have a watch list there, so you can see how really well AMD did, and that was because they had that really good earnings report, which we'll talk about in a minute. So let's just go straight into the balances to see how we did that day. So our best performing position on the first day was our Amazon call. We made about $1,800 that day. And then our Alibaba call, actually we have 3 calls there, went up $1,200. And so you can see the rest of the positions there if you want to pause the video and have a look at that. Our losers that day, so you can see we had a really good day this day. We went up about 10 grand. And so we didn't have many big losers, so that was really good. Now let's go to the next day, which wasn't as good. We ended up losing about $3,700. So you can see our winners here were AMD had the really good gain because of the earnings. So they went up 34%. We had 10 calls there, so $1,300 gain with them. NVIDIA, Disney also had really good days. And then our losers, we had Amazon was our loser today, and then Facebook. You know, they got hit with their earnings, and then Align Technology also got hit, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So let's just go straight into the articles. I believe I don't have as many to talk about as I did before, but one thing I do want to mention, I did do a trade. So on July 26th, I sold my Universal Display call. I had a December 21st, 2018 strike, or expiration, $100 strike. We made only $34 profit on that one, so that was pretty much negligible. But the other calls we sold, they were for January 18th, 2019, also a $100 strike. We had 2 of those. We sold those for a 53% return, so a $1,003.20 profit. So I must have bought those when OLED was on the dip, and then had a good profit with that one. So I'm happy about that, because you know how we've been doing with Universal Display, getting killed this year. So let's just go straight into the articles and talk about a few things that you may have missed, and just kind of summarize what had happened at this point in history, in case any of you guys forgot. But so at this point, you know, one of the main positives was the agreement that Trump and the EU was making with their trade agreements. And so I think it's kind of funny that we already forgot about that. I personally already forgot about that. It's like, that was a really big positive thing. They agreed to work to lower the industrial tariffs and increase the EU imports of liquefied natural gas and soybeans from the United States. If you're not familiar, soybeans, we mostly export those to China, and they import about a quarter of all of our soybeans. And so maybe shifting some of that to Europe so they can import more from us, that would be a good benefit for us, because they're not going to, you know, slap those tariffs on us with those. I haven't really heard any new updates with that in the last 3 months, because it's November 12th right now. So I don't know what's been going on with that. People still focus on the uncertainty, and even if it's like the same thing, they focus on it day after day after day after day, and it kind of drags the markets. Just like we've been seeing, like there's supposed to be a post-election rally going on, but as soon as the election was over, we had that one good day, and then everyone's just right back to worrying about the same crap again. It's just kind of annoying, because it's like, okay, how long are you going to worry about it? Like, can you just make up your mind and then go back to focusing on the fundamentals? Because I feel like if people did that, the stocks wouldn't be going as crazy as they are. But that's just my personal opinion. I am not a financial advisor, obviously. But anyways, this other interesting headline, the S&P ended its longest stint in correction territory since 1984, which is crazy. That is the year I was born, and my birthday is actually coming up next week. So I'm hopefully we get some good luck next week. But anyways, yeah, 115 sessions S&P had been in correction mode, which was the longest since the 122 session in August of 1984. And at this point in time, the Dow was still in correction. They had logged 116 straight sessions in correction mode, which kind of sucks. But anyways, the big news headlines of this point in time was AMD. They had the best earnings in 7 years, so their stock went crazy the next day. They closed at $18.35 at this point in time, which was the highest close since January 2007. Awesome. You know, they had their highest net quarterly income in 7 years, the CEO said. And one of their biggest areas of growth, if you aren't familiar with AMD, was their EPIC chips for data centers, which are their CPUs, central processing units, which had only been out for a year, but they're doing very well. And they plan to reinvest heavily in that business to grow it out over the next 4 to 8 quarters. But they said what's growing even faster than that was the demand for the GPUs in the data center. Oh my gosh, sorry about that. So anyways, they said what's growing on even faster than that is the GPUs for the data centers. And, you know, there's high interest in their 7-nanometer chips, the Vega, and that's coming out later this year. But anyways, let's just keep moving. A couple of Facebook little headlines. So Facebook had those really bad earnings. They were reporting. They finally were trying to say how much they have to spend and then how their revenue is going to be declining because of all their spending and stuff like that to try to curb the fake news and all that crap. Me personally, I don't really go on Facebook anymore, and like, except to post on the Road to the 2 Comma group. That's the only thing I go on Facebook for, and to just post random headlines about Tesla. But anyways, yeah, I mean, if you're someone who reads article headlines from Facebook, just always question them, because there's a good chance they're not real. So, you know, always have that questioning mentality. Don't believe everything you read first time. But yeah, it's just a good little tip. But anyways, Facebook says that it'll add a Shaquille O'Neal show, and they did air this. I never watch it because I don't go on Facebook, but they're releasing an interactive show with Shaquille O'Neal. He's opening a restaurant. Comment below if you've seen this show or if you've interacted with it. I want to get your input on whether it's cool or not. I just kind of checked it out. It looks kind of interesting. I mean, Shaquille O'Neal is awesome. Everyone loves him. But yeah, I mean, I personally don't really go on Facebook, so I can't really comment on it too much. Now, there's one video I do want to link to is the Cult of FANG, Investment Fads or Innovation Franchises. This guy's a really good point. He talks about why you should invest in the FANG stocks, and basically because they're dominating in their respective fields. And also, he said if you want to invest in the future, when it comes to automation, you should own Amazon, Alphabet, and Microsoft. That's his opinion, but I do agree. I mean, they're the leaders on those fronts, and I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea. Not a financial advisor, but that's my personal opinion. I don't think it's a bad idea to have some money in them just for long term, because I do think they are the leaders in what they're trying to do. Now, at this point, sadly, the former CEO of Fiat Chrysler, Sergio Marchionne, did die, and that's why he left. I forgot about that. I did hear about that, and then I forgot. But yeah, so that was sad news there. The next article headline for this day, and we're almost done, but this article was, and I'll summarize it for you. It was about AT&T versus IDSY, which stock is a better value. IDSY is the ticker for ID Systems. I guess they're in the wireless space too. I'm not familiar with their business. But anyways, long story short, this article rated AT&T as the better investment. They have better ratios in terms of PE, PEG ratios, price to book ratios. Now, anyways, let's go to the next day. S&P closes. Yeah, Facebook kind of was the reason the stocks did bad. This other headline was Barbie's World. If you're into investing in like the toy industry, like Mattel, Hasbro, and stuff like that, this article gives a good synopsis of whether Mattel can survive as competition gets hotter. So I will link to the description for that. This was the article that kind of weird. Like, I don't get. This happens. You guys have probably witnessed this many times. But let's say you're investing in a company, they have really, really good earnings, and then like one negative thing about the future earnings is not quite so great, and then their stock just tanks. It's like everyone just completely ignores all the great things that's happening, and that's exactly what happened with Align Technology. I've talked about them many times. They're the ones who make those Invisalign like teeth straighteners. I mean, they're like the only company who makes them basically, and they had really, really good stats. I'll put a chart here you can look at. They had really, really good stats. Sales went up 37%. Net income went up 53% year over year. Diluted earnings per share up 52%. These are like great, great numbers. And the stock basically didn't go down or didn't go up because they projected their Q3 revenue to be not as great, not as awesome as the current quarter, which was Q2 at the time of this article. So even though like all that awesome stats, whatever. And the headline said that investors might want to take their guidance with a grain of salt because they like to sandbag with its projections. And I actually think that's awesome because of how tough judges like investors are with stock. Like they could do so well and their stock will still get hammered. I actually think it's a good thing that they sandbag those numbers because it gives them an easier way to beat those numbers next time. That's just my opinion. So anyways, Intel didn't do well. They had earnings, but they didn't do very well. I mean, their sales to data centers still rose 26%. Not bad, but you know, stiff competition from AMD. Their stock dropped, and it's kind of been sitting relatively flat for the last 3 months. And I was actually talking to my friend about that. It might be a good candidate to like maybe try an iron condor trade where you basically sell like an out of the money call and a out of the money put, and then you buy a call a little higher because it's cheaper. You buy a put a little bit lower because it's cheaper, but you're basically hoping for that stock to stay within the range. And seeing how Intel's been doing the last 3 months, they've kind of pretty much been between $45 and $50. It could be a good candidate for that, and I do want to look into that. I might try to do that relatively soon, but I got to see like how exactly to do it. But something I'm looking at. Anyways, Amazon saved the day with their earnings. This was huge news on this part, and we're going to finish up talking about Amazon and then a gaming article. But anyways, Amazon had huge earnings, and I'll post a link in the description. You can read that. This is old news by the time you've seen it, but basically they crushed it. You know, quarterly earnings were like smashed the estimates. You know, the Amazon Web Services was huge. Let me see if I can find that little stat here. Yeah, their revenue was $6.11 billion for that, and their revenues were $52.89 billion for the quarter. That's just nuts. A year ago it was $37.96 billion. To make billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars in a quarter is just bonkers. I don't know how anyone does it. But anyways, that is awesome for Amazon, and I still like Amazon. Even though they pulled back a little bit, I still like Amazon. But lastly, this article was investing in the soaring popularity of gaming, and they're just talking about how gaming is now the world's favorite form of entertainment, more than like movies, music, and other stuff like that. And this was interesting. Grand Theft Auto 5 at this point in time surpassed $6 billion in revenue, making it the highest selling title in any category of entertainment, which also includes books, films, and albums. I think that is just nuts. And then also, I talked about Fortnite in the last video. If you were wondering how you can invest in Fortnite, because Epic Games is not a publicly traded company, you may not have known this, but Tencent Holdings, they have a 40% stake in Epic Games. So if you did want to somehow indirectly invest into Fortnite or the video game space, that could be a company worth looking into. And then finally, Facebook had launched as a watch party, which I didn't know. Apparently it is a feature. I don't use Facebook a lot, so I can't really comment on it, but I do believe that YouTube has a similar feature called Premieres. I think it's pretty much the same thing. You can kind of post a video and say, you know, we're going to play it at this time, and then a bunch of people can watch it together and comment and chat and stuff. It's a cool feature, I guess. I haven't really tried it personally, but if I were to try something like that, I would do it on YouTube just because that's where I post. And Facebook, you can't link YouTube videos to it, so I don't post videos on Facebook. But just thought that would something important to mention. So we're just going to leave it at that. If you like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And again, if you want to chat with me personally on a daily basis and talk about stocks with me and some other people, consider joining the private Discord channel. There's a link in the description how to join that. And yeah, hope you guys have a fantastic day. We'll see you in the next one.